Welcome back to Racing Direct, guys. Today we got some new driver market news for 2025. Oli Bearman has signed a multi-year deal with the Haas F1 team. Now, there are some mixed emotions with this announcement. Most people figured this was inevitable and they're not too surprised, but some people don't feel this was the right signing. That's exactly what we're going to get into today, of why Haas decided to go this direction, why they decided to choose the very young Oli Bearman as their next driver 2025, and what this means for the rest of the driver market and for Haas. So, of course, I remind you, as always, subscribe, like, comment, and share. You already know what to do, guys. Let's jump into it. So we already knew that Nico Hülkenberg was parting ways with Haas at the end of the season. He is heading to Sauber for next year as they get ready to ramp up and turn into Audi for 2026. So Hülkenberg set himself up pretty nicely for the future. This left a huge question mark over Haas because they have two vacant seats. Kevin Magnussen still isn't re-signed, and the other one was completely vacant. We really had no idea who they were going to put in that second seat. Well, now we've got our answer. It is Oli Bearman. And to be honest, I'm not too surprised. I don't think many people are, especially after we saw Oli Bearman make his unexpected debut in Formula One earlier this season at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Of course, remember, Carlos Sainz had appendicitis and wasn't able to partake in that race. So Oli Bearman left his Formula 2 duties behind for that weekend, competed in Formula 1, and scored points on his debut for Ferrari, which was pretty damn impressive, I must say. Now, even despite that impressive performance, his obvious involvement in the Ferrari Driver Academy, and his upward trajectory in the junior ranks, people are still not too, I guess you could say, committed to the Oli Bearman project. They don't really understand why Haas are going this direction. They don't understand why Ferrari is so invested in him, and they feel that he is lacking a bit behind, and he maybe was not deserving of this seat. I feel that he is. I feel that he's definitely earned that spot, and I'm going to explain exactly why I feel like this. So look, we all know a major problem with current Formula One is the lack of seats and the abundance of upcoming talent. There are so many young drivers who are trying to jump into the Formula One grid and plan out their futures and their careers in racing at the top level. But when there's only so few seats and so many drivers, a lot of people are going to get left on the sidelines. We've seen multiple Formula 2 champions, the likes of Theo Pourchaire, Felipe Drugovich, even Oscar Piastri after his championship winning season in Formula 2 did not have a ride. He was forced to sit on the sidelines as an Alpine reserve. We're sort of seeing this issue brewing right now. There's a lot of good drivers in Formula 2, and a lot of the guys near the top of the standings, potentially even the champion, whoever that might be in 2024, is not going to end up in the Formula 1 grid in 2025 and will join the likes of Felipe Drugovich and Theo Pourchaire with not earning a seat even after winning a prestigious junior championship. Now, if you look at the current Formula 2 standings, Oli Bearman is in 14th place right now, so he's not really lighting it ablaze down there. You have to keep in mind he did miss both the sprint and the feature race in Saudi Arabia due to his duties of filling in for Carlos Sainz at Ferrari. But yes, he hasn't really been producing some major results down there. But when you look at it from a different angle, I think he's more than earned this seat for a completely different reason, because he had a chance that not many other drivers get, especially when you're only 18 years old. Now, Oli Bearman has turned 19, back when he's competing in Saudi Arabia in place of Sainz. He's just 18 years old, one of the youngest drivers ever to feature in a Formula One Grand Prix. I believe he was the youngest to ever race for Ferrari as well, so some history was made back in Jeddah. But basically, the leg up that Bearman has on the rest of his competitors in the Formula 2 grid and the drivers who are winning races down there and are ultimately outperforming him is he has shown what he can do in a Formula 1 car. Now, yes, he had the luxury of being in one of the top teams, so he was outperforming many of the slower drivers on the Formula 1 grid, so that obviously played a big part in it. But you got to remember, he had absolutely no practice. He was forced to jump in there on very short notice, and ultimately he seized the opportunity. He scored points on his debut. He showed that he can fight with other Formula 1 drivers. He's not afraid of anything. Even his stamina and his strength were up to the task. We know the jump in physicality from Formula 2 to Formula 1 is next level, but Bearman was able to compete for the entirety of the Grand Prix and contest in some fierce battles as well. Nothing was really seeming to wear on him. He did admit after the Grand Prix was done that his neck was absolutely killing him. That didn't seem to stop him, and honestly, it was a fantastic debut. Now, Ferrari saw this and Haas saw this as well. They looked at this and they said, you know what, this guy knows how to handle a Formula 1 car, even with just this little bit of practice that he had jumping into qualifying and then jumping into the race. He was able to run with the big dogs and he was able to score points with little to no practice, which is seriously impressive. This is how Bearman has been able to get a leg up on the rest of his Formula 2 competitors and show that he can last in Formula 1. Now, let's be honest. Obviously, if you win the Formula 2 championship, you are the most likely to succeed in Formula 1 just based on your results and your overall performance. We already know it doesn't always pan out. You look at some previous champions, the likes of Palmer, De Vries, they just didn't really work out in Formula 1. You can even go more recent to Mick Schumacher. things just didn't really pan out the way many people thought they would. And even with a Formula 2 championship under their belt and proving they have skill and absolute raw talent in the junior ranks, those skills didn't really just transform over to Formula One. They couldn't really carry them over. It's a totally different ball game. So this is why Bearman's showing in Jeddah played such a huge part in securing him in this seat. Honestly, I feel that maybe if he didn't get that opportunity, and yes, you could say he was very lucky, the fact is he got it and he absolutely seized the opportunity. He didn't waste it, and he showed Ferrari and Haas exactly what he can do, and he showed them why he's the right man for the job. So I don't think winning the Formula 2 championship is necessarily a prerequisite for being successful on the Formula 1 grid or even earning a seat on the Formula 1 grid. Yes, obviously it helps, and naturally the Formula 2 champions should be the best fits for a seat, and they should ultimately get the best opportunities at acquiring a seat, but it doesn't really seem to matter in this scenario, and that's because Bearman has proven that with that little bit of F1 experience he has, he can handle himself in the top division, and I do feel that Haas has made the right call here. Now, obviously, we all have to wonder as well, who is going to partner Oli Bearman next season? You could say that with such a young driver coming through the ranks, he's only going to be 19 years old when the 2025 season rolls around. I do feel they need a wealth of experience in there. We saw the double rookie experiment back in the day with Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Ultimately, that didn't work out for Haas. It was a bit of a disaster. Mazepin was probably, well, not one of the worst drivers we've ever seen in Formula One. There's no way to sugarcoat it. And Schumacher, he had flashes of brilliance, but ultimately it just didn't really work out. Again, another Formula 2 champion that just didn't really cut it in Formula 1, so not always a guarantee. But I think they do need some experience. I wouldn't be too opposed to them bringing Kevin Magnussen back, although that was another driver from the Gunther Steiner era, and it seems like Ayo Komatsu is sort of moving away from everything that Gunther Steiner brought into the team. It's not a knock on Magnussen, but it's obviously he wants a new culture within Haas, and he just wants to change everything, start from scratch, and go with a new philosophy and new drivers, new engineering, and just basically transform the entire team. A full-on North American sports style rebuild. So yes, we won't really know how Bearman's going to fare in the Haas next season until we actually see him in race form when the first race rolls around in 2025. But to be honest, I still think this is the right move. Ferrari has invested heavily in Bearman. You don't get into the Ferrari Academy by chance. You obviously have to prove your worth. They know he's talented. They know he has the raw skill. And to be honest, we probably will see some better results from him in Formula 2 in the second half of the season. But he's already locked up that seat. Now he's just basically using the remainder of the Formula 2 season as a test bed, gaining some more knowledge and some more experience before he jumps into that Haas. But yes, this is definitely the best move for Haas and honestly for the Ferrari Driver Academy as well. Getting the experience young, we're seeing a lot of young drivers jump into the grid. We might see Andrea Kimi Antonelli in Mercedes, the top team, as early as next season, which is just crazy to think about. So we're seeing some of these bigger teams take some risk on these younger drivers and want to get them into the fray earlier than usual to get them the experience they need and turn them into future championship contenders. So I think that's the route that Ferrari is looking at right now. Obviously, Haas wants that young talent, that young skill to pair with an experienced driver next season, and Bearman is definitely the right man for the job, and we've already seen it in Jeddah. That's why he earned this seat. But guys, let me know what you think. Do you think Haas made the right call here with Oli Bearman? Do you think that his Formula 2 results needed to improve for him to actually earn this seat? Or do you think that bit of experience he had in Formula 1 was enough to prove that he is ready for the task? Give me your thoughts down below, all your comments, your concerns, everything you want to give me with your opinions. I want to hear them. So as always, I'll remind you, subscribe, like, comment, and share. We'll see you next time on Racing Direct.